Hey, what's up guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, make sure you check out some of our sponsors. Game Strat is our sideline replay system. If you're looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, make sure you check out Game Strat. There's going to be a link in the description box down below that takes you directly to Game Strat's website if you're interested in using Game Strat. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room. You can get thousands of reps working on striking without needing a partner. Elbows in, thumbs up, proper mechanics. You don't need anybody holding a bag or a med ball, so it's just you and a DifferenceUSA machine. JustPlayFB, digital software, taking your program to the next level. If I have to draw plays up for a clinic or a webinar or something that I'm going to speak on, I'm only going to use JustPlay. They also have great features within their software that allows you to test your kids on your game plan or the opponent or your playbook, or you can quiz your kids and see how much they actually know about the topic and see how long they've spent looking at some of the stuff that you've put into the JustPlay system. Defensive Coordinator 1, an in-game app built by a coach in Texas, letting you make critical in-game adjustments based on the actual live in-game data. So take the guesswork out of your adjustments. You're actually making your in-game adjustments based on what you're calling, what the other team's calling, what they've had success with against what you've called. So it takes the guesswork out and lets you make those proper critical in-game adjustments. And then Dome Hats, which is a headwear sponsor of Play Fast Football. This is a Dome hat. It's a trucker mesh fit, our Rydell hat that they do a lot of work with Rydell. So make sure you check out Dome Hats. It was founded by two former Florida Gator football players. They're located here in Northeast Florida, but they want to continue to build across the country and get their hats into every state, every program, on every staff. Every hat has a story. Why don't you let Dome help you tell yours? So today we're going to talk about, pass protections and quarterback drops. We use two very simple pass protections when we go to throw the football. We use a full slide, and then we use a half slide or a turn back protection, half turn protection. Okay, so when we are going to throw our quick game, for us it is a full slide protection with the running back usually involved in the protection, and then it is going to be punch one by the quarterback, ball out. So what that means is, and I know you're not going to be able to see my lower half, but the quarterback if I'm a right-handed quarterback and my right foot is my plant foot, I'm going to punch out with my left foot first. So punch, right foot, ball out. So when we're coaching the quarterback, we're constantly in quick game telling them, punch one ball, punch one ball, punch one ball. And the reason for that is it has to marry up and time up with the protection that we're using, which is an aggressive full slide protection. So as we are telling our offensive linemen to make it look almost like run blocks, be very aggressive with your pad level at the line of scrimmage, and then we're telling that running back to attack the C gap with his helmet inside as aggressive as physically possible, because when we throw the ball in quick game, it is a very rhythmic passing game and we want the ball out. So we are telling that running back when he goes to the C gap, he's going to have his helmet inside in the C gap and he's going to attack that defensive player that we cannot cut in high school football, so it's a little bit of a mismatch. But if we do it right with the O-line, it looks like a gap scheme and it slows the rush down of that defensive end. And all we ask our running back to do is to win with his helmet in the C gap. And the coaching point we give him is 100 miles an hour, license to miss, which means we give him the license to miss if he misses with his helmet inside and makes the defensive end go wide. Because when we are throwing the ball in quick game with our full slide, we want to make sure A gaps and B gaps are taken care of. We want to spill everything wider to the C gaps and beyond because we feel like the quarterback's going to have the ball out of his hand because we are constantly repping punch one ball, punch one ball. We give our quarterback, two different sides in the route combination in our quick game. We give them a side that has a soft coverage or an off coverage beater. We give them a side that has a man coverage or a press coverage beater. And then pre-snap, our quarterback, based on coverage, is going to make his decision of which side he wants to throw the ball to. Now, because of the way we pass protect, we cannot reset our feet. He cannot punch one, look one way, and turn and try and throw a ball to the other side because the protection is taught in a very aggressive manner. And we tell the lineman and the running back that the quarterback will have the ball out of his hands in 1.2 seconds or 1.4 seconds. So they all know within the technique that they're going to use how aggressive they want to be because they know that the quarterback has to get the ball out. And if the quarterback doesn't get the ball out in that time, we tell him it's on him. So if you make your pre-snap choice and you go punch one and you reconfirm and they roll the coverage or they change the coverage, you need to get out of there and live for another down. We are not going to reset our feet and throw the ball to another side in quick game for us because of the way we teach it. So we have to do a lot of work with down and distance, a lot of work with tendencies, a lot of work with quarterbacks understanding coverage looks and where you could possibly get hurt pre-snap and post-snap. All right, but we are never going to, in quick game for us, we are never going to reset our feet and change the side that we're going to throw the ball. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You would just have to change your protection up because it doesn't marry for us with how we protect our quick game. Our quick game is punch one ball, very rhythmic, high percentage passes. Okay, and we normally pair, like on this side here, we've got 2 hitch routes with double slants on the backside. If we get softer off coverage, we're throwing hitch routes all day based on where they are with an apex defender to number 2. We're either going to grab it and throw it out to 1. If the apex defender buzzes out to 1, we're going to throw it to 2. If they give us any type of press man or any type of cover 2 with a hard press look, we're going to go to double slants and we're going to try and win on the inside of the overhang backer if we can. If we can't, all right, if we can't get inside of that backer, then the quarterback needs to know that the ball needs to go to the outside slant. If that overhang is inside, all right, the inside slant route, then we're going to throw the ball to the outside slant route. If that overhang gets outside the inside route, then we're going to turn that a little bit more vertical and keep that moving, all right, vertical up inside. I know some guys will have different terminology for what they call that route and how they teach that route. All right, we try to keep things for us as simple as possible. What we'll do is we'll vary the depth sometime of those 2 routes. So one might be, all right, a 1-step hard slant inside, and one might be a 3-step slant. All of our quick game routes are based off of steps, so it's either usually 3 steps or 4 steps in the quick game. The ball needs to come out. It's very aggressive in nature. Our left offensive tackle in this drawing right here, our left offensive tackle would have C gap. Our left guard would have the B gap. Our center would have the left A gap. Our right guard would have the right A gap. Our right tackle would have the right B gap. Running back would have license to miss in the C gap with his helmet inside. Quarterback has punch 1. Get the ball out of your hand. Now, when we go to drop back, now we are going to use, all right, what's called half slide. Okay, so when we go to drop back now, we're going to use half slide, which is a little bit more vertical in nature, nowhere near as aggressive, because now within our protection calls and within our drops for our quarterback, everybody is now under the impression that the quarterback is going to be holding on to the ball, because now the quarterback is going to use what we call, from the shotgun, a punch 3 drop. All right, so the quarterback is going to punch out. For me, as a right-handed quarterback, it'd be my left foot. So I would punch out with my left, and then I would open as big and as deep as I can, short crossover plant. Those would be the 3 steps. Okay, so it's that first step is trying to get as much depth after I punch out with my left foot. That first step with my right foot is opening to get as much depth as possible, and then it would be short crossover plant. And then depending on the route combinations that we got, it might be, all right, 5-step, throw off your 5th step. It might be a hitch and hold, which means when you get to that 5th step, the routes have to develop a little bit more, so you're going to hitch up into the pocket. So the offensive line has to understand where the quarterback's going to be, and then at the same time, they have to understand that he's going to be holding the ball a little bit longer, so we can't be as aggressive with our protection, so now we've got to have a little bit different protection built in. Okay, so let's just say, for argument's sake right now, we've got our snag concept on the front side, and we've got a levels concept on the back side, and we are going to be running what is called a RAM theory, so it's a read away from Mike theory. Okay, so we're going to read away from the Mike linebacker to see where we get numbers. So now when we are doing this, we have to use a half slide protection. So for us, what we do is the man side for us is the side that we want the quarterback's eyes to start on in the progression. So here it's going to be the right side. We're going to take this back and we're going to motion him and push him to the flat. So for us, the right side is the man side. So the right tackle has number 2 on the line of scrimmage. The right guard has number 1 on the line of scrimmage. And now you're going to see I draw it up different. That's actually more of a vertical set. All right, it is nowhere near as aggressive as the full slide protection was. It's a vertical set. The center, all right, is going to start to turn here. And here's the easiest way to teach half slide protection to your lineman. On the man side, the concept side, or however you want to teach the man side, the first uncovered lineman starts to turn. So when you get a 3 technique and a 5 technique. They're both covered. The guard and tackle are covered. They're man players. So now the center starts the turn, and it would look like this. So this side becomes a zone side. So when you have slide, you have a man side, and then you have a zone side that you're creating. The man side is where you want the quarterback to start with his eyes, because that's normally where you're going to build in your hot throws and unaccounted linebackers, and you're going to try and make sure that you have enough numbers on the zone side to account for linebacker blitzes so the quarterback doesn't have to worry about that. So for us, this is what we call a read away from Mike theory. So the quarterback is going to drop. First thing you've got to understand is these 2 linebackers cannot be blocked with the back getting out into protection. We are going to block the down 4 all the way back to the will. And the reason we're going to do that is when we turn the protection with the center, all right, we're going to make sure we account for everything on the backside. Now, some teams will go 4 down in the mic, and then they will sight adjust or do different things. I like to work a little bit simpler in nature for consistency's sake. I want to take everything away from the quarterback's backside and make sure the quarterback is responsible for his front side. If the quarterback's going to get hit, I want him to know that he's responsible for who's going to hit him, so he has to understand how to get the ball out of his hands. That's an easier way to teach the quarterback when you're talking about blitz protections and hot throws. If you want to understand who he's accounting for and who he can't block, all right, put it on his front side and let him know that, hey, if you want to stay safe and out of harm's way, these guys can't be blocked in the protection. We're not changing the protection late. So if either one of these backers come, you better figure out something to do with the ball. So we normally have it built in where he's got 2 options to replace blitzers. So we've got a flat route pushing here with a snag route coming inside. Both routes will be looking for the ball relatively quickly so he can get the ball out of his hands if he were to get a blitz from the mic or from the Sam. Now for us, the way we play with our tempo, we don't change at the line of scrimmage. We don't redeclare the protection at the line of scrimmage. This is how we roll. This is what we do. We're accounted for the 4 down in the will. If Mike or Sam come in a blitz, we have got to be able to get rid of the football. All right. If we have issues with that, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll put a sniffer in and we'll go to a 6-man protection and still get 3 out to the front side. So the tailback will still go to the front side. Sniffer will go into protection. Make it a 6-man protection if we have any issues where we need some help or we don't want to necessarily always throw the ball hot. All right. So again, what this, just to give you kind of a protection-wise, all right, protection-wise, if this was an odd look, all right, so if you had an odd front like this, all right, with, let's say, a Will and a Mike and a Sam and a Jack, however you want to label it. So if you were going to half slide this odd front for us, the way we do it with our rules, all right, on the side that we want to be the man side, the first uncovered lineman starts the turn. So the tackle is covered, so he's going to set and have that 5. The guard is uncovered, so he's going to make a 4-minute turn going all the way back. So now instead of being on the man side, the guard starts the turn side, okay? And now the offensive line knows that they are accounting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the offensive linemen have those 5. The quarterback now has 6 and 7. So we are releasing 5 into the pattern. We only have 5 protectors. We can only block 5. Quarterback has to be responsible for 6 and 7. So that's who he's responsible for. It was the same 2 guys when they were kicked over in the even front, but now in the odd front, I wanted to be able to diagram and show you how we would turn the protection away from the man side, and the first uncovered lineman starts the turn. So you've got to understand that against this odd front, the guard on the right side or the man side is the first uncovered lineman. He starts the turn. All right, and now this is going to be a little bit more, the turn back protection won't be as vertical, but it's more vertical in nature than the full slide protection, which is fairly aggressive with shoulders almost square at the line of scrimmage to kind of induce a low hat, low pad, run look, gap scheme almost is what we're trying to do in our quick game. Half slide is going to be a little bit more vertical in nature because they know the quarterback is going to be punch 3. He's going to be holding on to the ball longer because now when you work your drop back game with your punch 3 steps with your quarterback, okay, all your routes now, all right, are going to be developing. Usually the timing now has changed. So what you got to understand is now when you're going punch 3, it's different timing. So the route breaks change. And when I say the route breaks, what I mean is the depth or the steps that receivers are taking is going to change a little bit, all right? Because now with the quarterback dropping a little bit deeper, the routes are going to develop a little bit further down the field. And then each concept has some different timing mechanisms. Some concepts, again, are throw off your plant foot. Some are hitch and hold. All right, some are hitch and hold longer. Okay, so for us, the offensive line has to understand that with a punch three theory, these routes are going to take a little bit longer to develop than our quick game. So the quarterback is going to be holding onto the ball longer, so we can't be anywhere near as aggressive in our pass protection as we were in, all right, the quick game. The receivers have to know that the depths of their routes are going to change because the quarterback is not going to be punch one ready to have the ball out. So when you're putting together your pass protections and your passing game, what you got to understand is your protections and your drops and your route depths all have to marry together. You can't have route depths that are deep with a quarterback that's punch one ready to throw the ball with an offensive line that's aggressive in nature. You can't have all routes that break immediately when the quarterback is punch three and he's not ready to get rid of the ball and you're already in your break. All right, so your half slide protection can't be as aggressive as your full slide if the quarterback is going to be holding onto the ball for a little bit longer and he's not going to always be unloading it as soon as his back foot hits the ground. You can't be as aggressive in your pass protection. So, you know, the thought behind the video for how we do things is very simple. Make sure that your protections, your drops, and your route concepts are all married together and they all match each other. So make sure your quick game protection with your quick game drop and your quick game routes are all tied together and they work off the same rhythm. And then make sure your drop back protection with your drop back routes and your drop back depth marries together, and you can have yourself a successful passing game. Carry as much or as little as you want into the passing game so you feel like you have enough beaters for coverages. All right, but the thing with quarterbacks, in my opinion, with pass protection, with offensive linemen and quarterbacks, depending on how much you throw the ball is going to depend on how intricate you need to get with your pass protection. If you throw the ball 15 to 20 times a game like we do, and only 7 or 8 of those are going to be drop back passes, you don't want to get too intricate with your drop back protection because you're end up spending way more time on the rules and the intricacies of your protection and how you're going to change your protection and change the turn to get everybody accounted for, and you're only throwing the ball 7 to 8 times a game. You're spending way too much time on all those nuances in practice for something that you don't get enough value of in the game. If you're going to throw the ball 35 to 40 times a game, you may want to have your protections a little bit more involved than ours are because you have to keep the quarterback upright. That's the number one goal when throwing a football. Quarterback has to be upright and on his feet. So the protections we use for us in our offense are based on the fact that we throw the ball 15 to 20 times a game, and only 7 or 8 of those are drop back concepts. The other passes are quicks, all right, and waggles or boots and screens or action passes, and then incorporate some of our RPOs, which is not pass protection because it's run blocking. And you can see why we choose to be very simplistic in nature with our pass protection. For me, I'm about consistency. As I get older, consistency over complexity. I could talk multiple pass protections and how you could change them at the line and get the center to turn and the back to go where you need the back to go. Those things are all great. They're all nice to talk about in theory. When you get on the field, you better hope that your center knows what he's doing, your O-line knows what they're doing, the back knows where he fits, and the quarterback knows who's unprotected. Bottom line is if you know who you're accounting for and who the quarterback has to account for with hot theories or side adjusts or wherever you do it, as long as each player is accounted for, all right, on the defense that can come and the quarterback has an answer or something to do with the football, you'll be in good shape. All right, so keep it as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. That's up to you. It's your offense. For us, we're going to choose simple. All right, I hope everybody's staying safe out there in week 2.5 or week 3 of the coronavirus. This will pass like everything else. Football will be back again. We'll get back to doing what we need to do as long as everybody follows the rules in their area, country, state, county, wherever they are. Follow the rules. Do the things you're allowed to do. Don't do the things you're not allowed to do. Think about other people out there, and we'll all get through this a little bit better off. All right, I appreciate everything you guys do for me. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you know when we do videos. Thumbs up if you like the video. Comment, and I'll get back to you. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast, and I'll see you guys next time.